ceasefire achieved has been the sum of efforts of many. It is the fruit of sacrifice made by you that reawakened the conscience of the people as those who held steadfast on the fire fronting line. We have made it clear to the whole world we are holding our ground. We cannot abandon our homeland. Thank you to all who opened the doors to their fellow citizens. It is the fruit of massive efforts made by all the Lebanese, together with others, friends of Lebanon worldwide. It is the fruit of those who work day and night, initiating communications in all directions and at all levels. We did not falter or fell weary. We've lived up to the responsibility and the duty. We have endured massively. We have endured accusations and false allegations and malicious ones until it is proven that we are on the right side of history. And it is proven to the whole world that what we did was to the best interest of our country, and it is the most rightful course of action to take. And here I would like to extend all thanks and appreciation to all those who contributed to reaching this ceasefire, from the US President Trump to all the Arab brothers, namely and chiefly the Saudi Arabia, on whose friendship we all rely to complete what we started today and achieve what we aspire to achieve. Today, we are standing at a defining moment. It is the point where we should move from a ceasefire towards realizing comprehensive permanent agreements that safeguards our sovereignty and territorial integrity. And at this point, like ever before, we are certain that we will salvage our homeland, Lebanon. We are also adamant and certain that we will come under attack, simply for the reason that we have restored Lebanon. We have restored our decision for the first time in decades. For the first time, we are negotiating on our own behalf and handing down decisions on our own behalf. We cannot allow Lebanon to be a battleground for any party. We are a country that has its own say, and epitomizing this in words and in action to the best interest of its people and nothing else. To you, my countrymen, I say with absolute veracity and confidence that these negotiations is not a sign of weakness. It is not a sign of waiver or consignment, concession. It is based on our keenness, on our interests, and to do all what is needed to safeguard our home soil. We cannot bow to any party. Negotiation did not and will never mean that we will waive any right or to give up any principle or undermine the sovereignty of our homeland. Thousands of Lebanese have sacrificed their lives, and we cannot forget them or allow them to be forgotten. And we cannot allow for any citizen to fall in future for the interest of others or for calculations of other proxies, near or far. Between suicide and prosperity, we chose to take the course of prosperity. And from malicious, misleading reports that brainwash the voices, I am standing with the voice of reason. Between pointless agendas on the pretext of foreign enterprises and between devotion to our homeland in prosperity and dignity, I, with my people, on the side of life in prosperity and dignity. I reiterate that I am prepared to take the full responsibility for all the choices I made, and I'm prepared to go at any length to protect my home soil and protect my own people and salvage my country. My mission is clear and one, to salvage the homeland and its people. And this is what I'm going to achieve with absolute patriotic and ethical responsibility, and I'm certain that you are all with me in secret and in the open, with your minds and your hearts. You are on my side simply for the reason that I know the magnitude of sacrifices made by you, and I know the meaning of how to lose a dear one, a loved one, or your own home or sense of security. With absolute resolve, I say, pain cannot remain our destiny, and I am renewing with the voice of pledge and promise that we will not achieve any agreement that may undermine our established rights or injure the dignity of our steadfast people or give up a grain of soil of our homeland. Our objective is clear: to put an end to the Israeli aggression on our people, on our homeland, and the total withdrawal of the Israelis and the prevailing of our authority across every inch, and the return of all the Lebanese with dignity and freedom. To my fellow countrymen, the strength and might of our homeland lies in the awareness of people, its unity and coexistence in line with our patriotic charter. One state with total devotion and loyalty. One constitution to which we all resort. One rule of law and under which we all, or by which we are all governed. And one armed forces to safeguard and protect us all. Do not allow the malicious voices to sow the seeds of rift. Do not be misled by those who are playing on the harps of your emotions to build their glory at the expense of your stability. Live above the fantasies of those misleading. And what we are doing is for your safety, protection, and your dignified, peaceful, stable life, and in order to provide our posterity a more robust and stable future, rather than causing them to inherit numbers of victims. Make no mistakes that we are all working to protect our homeland, and each home destroyed with which part of our memory is destroyed. That's why together, hand in hand, we will rebuild our home country. All the Lebanese are on one ship. Either we steer it with prudence and wisdom, or to cause it to sink, and with which we will all sink. We will all drown. We cannot allow for this crime to be perpetrated under the pretext of any slogan or anything, or any loyalty to any, but to Lebanon and its people. I plead to you for all the sacrifices made, and out of loyalty to the steadfast people, to open your minds and hearts, and do not lose sight or fall to listen to the reason, the voice of reason. Do not be misled with all empty slogans. To the displaced citizens, I address you, and I say you will return home, and your homes will be rebuilt. We will be on your side, and we cannot fail you. And to those holding their grounds on the forefront, make no mistake, we will provide all redress. And to those who gamble with the fate of Lebanon and all the Lebanese, I say enough. Enough with it. It is only one agenda, the agenda of one unified, sovereign Lebanon. And to the whole world, I say, Lebanon cannot be held captive, nor our people be brought to their knees, and we will live by the will of our people. Long live Lebanon, long live my people.
Okay, you've been listening to the Lebanese President Joseph Aoun, who's been speaking in Beirut, giving a fiery and passionate defense of the ceasefire deal that was agreed to on Thursday and the idea that talks could potentially take place with Israel. I want to bring in our correspondent Malcolm Webb, if we can, who joins us live from Beirut and who is listening along to this with us. Malcolm, if you can hear me, I want to get your thoughts on this because President Aoun was speaking very clearly, addressing some of the criticism that there has been about this idea of possible talks in Lebanon, saying, I take full responsibility for the choices I make. I will go to any lengths to protect my homeland, and calling on the Lebanese people to unite behind this idea, saying that we are doing this for you, your stability and protection, and a dignified, stable life. How significant was this address by the president?
Well, some of the things that he said are what you'd expect. Others certainly raised quite a lot of questions. He did say we for the first time, we're negotiating on our own behalf. This is, of course, the first time in 30 years, about 30 years, that there have been direct talks between the government of Lebanon and the government of Israel. And he also said we will not make any agreement that undermines our sovereignty or give up a grain of soil of our homeland. This seems to be directed at Hezbollah supporters who are, many of them, frustrated at the moment about the government entering a negotiation with Israel at a point that Israel has occupied parts of southern Lebanon, some places up to 10 kilometers from the border. There's still an Israeli military presence there, and even reports of some weapons being fired today. But Aoun said that they were expecting a total withdrawal of Israeli forces. It's not clear how that's going to happen, or if that's going to happen. Israel's made it clear it has no intention of leaving the places that it's taken control of. And so, of course, everyone will be waiting to see if this is something that Iran demands, or if this is something that the US demands, following those tweets from Trump earlier saying that he was prohibiting Israel from bombing Lebanon. Withdrawal, though, is another question. It's something Israel doesn't want to do. It's something, of course, that people who've been forced from those villages in the south want, something that Aoun says he wants, but I don't know how he's going to go about getting it.
Right. And to that point, Malcolm, we know that hundreds of thousands of people in Lebanon have been forced from their homes since this conflict began. In that speech, he said, you will return home and your home will be rebuilt. But as you mentioned, for the foreseeable future, at least for the immediate future, there is still an Israeli occupation in southern Lebanon. Are people moving home now? Are they going to check on their homes? What have you been seeing around Lebanon as this ceasefire sort of begins to take hold?
Well, Hezbollah said that people should be patient and that it would be monitoring the ceasefire and that people shouldn't go home just yet. But thousands of people nonetheless have. Some in Beirut have returned to the southern suburbs just down there, from where about 500,000 people were displaced, forced from their homes. And thousands have also been heading south. There was traffic on the roads earlier, but many of them going back to places that they found, well, water, electricity cut off, bridges. The main bridges that connect the south with the rest of the country have all been destroyed. And many people going back to find homes, businesses, and livelihoods destroyed. And of course, no possibility of returning for those people from the villages which are occupied by the Israeli military, where the Israeli military has also carried out systematic demolitions because it seemingly doesn't want anybody to go back there, because it wants to create, it said, a buffer zone, a security zone along the border. That's at odds with what President Aoun just said.
Al Jazeera's Malcolm Webb reporting live for us in Beirut. Malcolm, thank you. Okay, let's return to our top story now and go back to Al Jazeera's Ali Hashem, who is in the Iranian capital of Tehran. Ali, I apologize for interrupting. Thank you for staying with us while we went and heard from the Lebanese president. You were talking about what you've been hearing from sources inside Tehran on this flurry of activity from the U.S. president about things that Iran has apparently agreed to. What can you tell us?
Well, let me get back to these points. Actually, the source said clearly that the next step will be agreeing on a framework for negotiations, not a final agreement. Issues of uranium enrichment and the fate of the highly enriched uranium are to be decided in the talks and haven't been decided yet. Also, the source said that Iran had outlined around 10 conditions to initiate negotiations, including the issues in Lebanon. In parallel, there has been a calibrated response in the Strait of Hormuz, the source noted, referring to the limited control opening of maritime traffic. The source added, at this stage, we are still at the beginning of the process, not at the level of a finalized agreement. Now, more from the spokesperson of the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Ismail Baqai, who gave an interview to the Iranian television. He said that they had no discussions about an extension of the framework of the ceasefire, understanding and that it was for 2 weeks. Also, regarding the naval blockade by the United States, he considered it as a violation of ceasefire, and Iran will take the necessary reciprocal action. He also said that the passage of ships in the Strait of Hormuz will take place along the route designated by Iran and in coordination with the relevant Iranian authorities. So once again, we are not talking about an open strait, rather a managed passage of vessels within the strait in coordination with the Iranian armed forces. He says if the other side intends to act in bad faith, which is apparently going to happen, and if the naval blockade continues, the Islamic Republic of Iran will in return take the necessary measures, and there is no doubt about that. So we are actually in a situation where both sides are using narratives to face each other. So it's a war of narratives right now, regardless of what's going on behind the closed doors.
Ali Hashem reporting live for us from Tehran. Ali, thank you for all of that. We appreciate it.